Hi, I'm Beth Dunlap with Sunny Bites, standing outside of a Cruise America RV, ready to share with you how our family of four organized our RV as we cruised around to 7 national parks and 1 state park in our 10-day bucket list vacation. There are 3 sizes of RVs. There is standard, compact, and large. We rented the standard, so we will be focusing on the standard during this video. If you have a Cruise America location near your home, I encourage you to visit it before your vacation. Walk through the type of RV that you are renting so you can get an idea of how your family is going to live in this space. Think about it like you're buying a new home, because this will be your home away from home for however long your vacation lasts. If you do not have a Cruise America close to your home, no problem. They have a really good virtual walkthrough that you can do on their website. All right, let's head on inside. Okay, so I am right here at the entrance of the RV with our next tip. When we went to pick up our RV, they gave us 1 set of keys. I instantly just pictured us absent-mindedly putting down our keys somewhere in the middle of Utah or Arizona and frantically looking for them everywhere. I knew our keys needed a home. We vacationed with another family during this trip, and my friend Melissa had recommended to bring command hooks. Well, that came in handy right away because that was the perfect solution. We put a command hook right here at the entrance, and then our keys always had a home when we were parked. We never had any lost keys, so crisis averted. Thanks, Melissa. Okay, so starting at the driver's seat, clearly there's not a whole lot that you're going to need to do organizing here, but you do want to consider bringing a few things with you. One being a mount for your phone. You will be using Google Maps or Waze quite a lot, and you want to make sure you have a place for your phone. We thought we were being all smart and prepared and brought our mounts from our cars, but we use a CD player mount, and there's no CD player here. So our phones fell the whole time. So make sure you bring a mount that works for the RV. The thing that we did bring that we could use is a radio adapter. So we plugged that in and we're able to connect to that and use the radio and listen to our music. We listen to Audible on some of the long road trips. And we also download an app called the Gypsy Guide app. I highly recommend this if you're going on some of these national park trips. It's like you have a personal tour guide going with you. They are absolutely wonderful. We've loved them. So I highly recommend getting that. Okay, so in between the driver seat and the passenger, you've got enough space for a cooler. So we brought along 2 coolers with us. You can check those on to the airplane, and we actually packed in some of our kitchen supplies inside of the cooler and just sealed it up with packing tape. Now, when you go to pick it up at baggage claim, they might put it in the oversized area, so just keep that in mind if it doesn't come out with your suitcases. Don't panic. In the passenger seat, there's not a lot of organizing to do here either, but you do want to remember this space whenever you're parked. This is a great place to put some things out of the way. So we would put our computer bags here while we were parked and we didn't need them. You also want to bring along something that organizes all of your reservations. I highly recommend like a really colorful binder or a folder and just have them all printed out. Some of the signals in some of these national parks can be a little bit unreliable, so you want to make sure you have everything printed up. So I just kept that up at the passenger seat with us, so we had it ready to go whenever we were checking into a new campground. Okay, so now for the loft area. Up here, this little space is not going to be here when you're using it. You'll move that cushion over and that's going to seal this space up. That makes it into a queen size bed. We brought a king size fitted sheet. We each had a sleeping bag, a pillow, and maybe a throw blanket that we brought with us, and that was all we did for bedding. As far as your clothes go, you do want to think through like where are you going to put your clothes in the RV. If you're used to living out of a suitcase when you go to hotels, it doesn't really work very well in an RV. The reason for that is because space is a premium. You won't have space to keep like an open suitcase, and you also just don't want the suitcase to be big and bulky and hanging around the inside of the RV. So what we did is we have a pop-up camper, and for years we have just used a duffel bag, and we've just lived out of our duffel bag while we've been camping. but that can still lead to a pretty good mess. So when we were packing, we had our suitcase and we packed an extra duffel bag in there. But during this trip, it occurred to me like mid-trip what the solution would be. And that is a trunk organizer. These are ideal for organizing your clothes. Normally in an RV, I'm always trying to think like, how can I maximize the space vertically? But up here, you've got a ton of horizontal space, which is just perfect for a trunk organizer. The other thing that works well with, the other reason that a trunk organizer works well is that it's designed for like the back of an SUV or a minivan or a car. And so it's gonna have those non-skid on the bottom. And so it's not going to be moving around up here. You can find trunk organizers in all sorts of variations with multiple compartments. I would encourage you to get one that has at least like 3, so then you can put shirts in one, you know, shorts and sweatpants or jeans in another, and then save the other one for like socks, PJs, swimsuit, underwear, those sort of things. And you'll have a much more organized little space and won't be, you know, messing around like looking through all of your clothes and pulling them all out all the time. And the other nice thing about those trunk organizers is you can find some that have pockets along the outside of it. And so that's a great way to tuck away some stuff that might just be small and loose. So you can put sunglasses or like a flashlight, a book, you know, in that area. And so that would be a great addition. If you have small children, you could probably even get one for their toys and store it up here. So I would highly recommend doing that. We're certainly going to be doing that from now on in our pop-up. All right, that is it for the loft. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of floor space here. So if you're like my family, with every one person comes at least 3 or 4 different pairs of shoes. We had our hiking boots, our tennis shoes, slides, and chacos. So in order for us not to be tripping over shoes all the time that were on the floor, we needed to find a place for them. The place that worked best for us was these 2 cabinets right here that's above the table. It worked perfectly. We just designated that our shoe cabinet and kept them in there the whole time. It was right here by the table, so we had a place to just sit and put on our shoes, and we kept them out of the way. So highly recommend doing that. All right, as far as the table goes, you do not want to treat your table and your countertops like you do at your house, where you might have a few things kind of staying on your table the whole time. Not to state the obvious, but this RV does roll. So you want to make sure you keep in mind all of the recommendations when you're flying an airline to stow everything away. That definitely applies here in the RV when you're taking off. Things will just go all over the RV if you have them on the table or the countertop, so make sure you tuck everything away. This table does go down into a little bed or a couch, and we converted that down to that a couple of times during our trip. It was a great place for us to just all sit down and watch a movie. So my husband had downloaded some movies on his laptop, and we put the laptop right here on the stove, with the stove off, of course, and all came and watched a movie on the couch. Now, it was a little cozy for us, but if you have smaller children, it'll probably fit you just fine. Okay, so this chair right here is right behind the passenger seat. We put one of our other coolers right in front of that, and it actually made for a really nice ottoman. You want to make sure to put things in the coolers that are your hot ticket items that might cause people to go to the refrigerator and open and close it a lot. You don't want to treat your RV refrigerator like you do the one at home. You really want to try to keep it closed as much as possible. So we put our drinks in our coolers. We actually just purchased gallon jugs of water at Walmart for 80 cents and kept those in there, and we kept several underneath the RV so we could just kept a fresh supply, and that worked out great for us. Another thing about the coolers that's a benefit is that we love ice cold watermelon, especially on these hot summer days. And so I actually put one of our watermelons in one of the coolers, and it got nice and cold. So you can use those coolers for quite a lot of different things. Just make sure you're purchasing your ice. If you have room in your freezer, you may want to try to grab a bag of ice before you head out to the national parks. I know at the Grand Canyon, I was shocked at the prices for ice. They were like $6.50, I think, for a bag of ice, and they were actually sold out. I've never seen them that high, so just keep that in mind. There is a little place underneath here that you can place something, and we actually didn't place anything there, which is unusual. You usually try to use up all the space that you can, but because we had the camper there, or the cooler there, we just didn't do that. One thing that we could have probably put under here is maybe we had an extension cord, some extra ropes for our laundry, to hang up towels, and we had hammocks with us, so we could have tucked them up under here. Now if you have small children, you might be able to put some of their shoes in here as well, but our kids are older. One pair of hiking boots from my kids or my husband would have filled up this space, so that's why we just didn't really use that space very much. Okay, so this cabinet right up here, we had a lot of backpacks with us and camelbacks, and so we just designated this as like our little backpack area. So kept them all together. This little cabinet up here, we kept our sunglasses, wallet, some of our chargers up there. Now, I am not a tall person. I'm 5'2.5". So when we kept our chargers up here just loose, they kept on hitting me in the face. So I bought a little basket at the dollar store and put those over with our shoes. But I did buy some other like smaller baskets at dollar store too, just to kind of keep that place organized. All right, so that's all we did with these cabinets up here. So let's move on to the kitchen. So the kitchen comes with a stovetop and a microwave, but don't think that that this is the only appliances that you can use to cook. If you have some small appliances at home that you really like cooking with, try to bring them along with you. I brought along our griddle, an indoor grill, and our Ninja smoothie maker. So we would have some variations on what we could do. So you want to think collapsible whenever you're buying things. So if you wanted like a little drying rack right here, you could purchase one that's collapsible and you can easily tuck it away. All right, so right here in the kitchen, these are your two kitchen cabinets. These are just false panels for the kitchen equipment down there. This one is actually really deep. Some of them have like a little diagonal cutout, so it's not quite so deep, but these can hold quite a lot. So this is where I kept my indoor grill, my Ninja, my oven mitts and cutting boards and that sort of thing. So it was a great space for that. Over here, we kept our sanitizer and dishwashing liquid and our sponge and sanitizer and that sort of thing. Now at the beginning I didn't have it in a little caddy, and so when we would travel all the bottles would fall over, so I just stopped at the dollar store and got a little caddy, and that solved that. One additional item to consider bringing is something for your paper towels. We had a problem with our paper towels the entire time and trying to find a good spot for them. We do have a paper towel holder that goes over the cabinet and that we use for our pop-up camper. It just didn't occur to me to bring it. So this might be something handy for you to bring along with you. Okay, so up here, this is where you can keep like your dishes. There's little inserts in here that will, you'll be able to place them in there and keep them just exactly where you want them to be. On the side, there's about 6 little compartments. This is perfect to hold like olive oil or anything kind of bottle that you don't want to tip over while you're driving. So it's really nice to be able to organize up here. And on the very top, it's a very deep shelf up there. So I was able to put all of our dry goods that I bought for various recipes up there. So plenty of space actually. So there are 3 drawers right here. Our drawer up here had a little partition for your forks and your knives. So that worked out really nicely for just our forks, knives, and spoons. In this middle drawer, I kept our utensils. Like I brought a can opener and a spatula and a garlic grater. So you want to make sure you don't bring anything with large handles because these are pretty small drawers right here. All right, so this bottom drawer, I kept our like garlic, onions, potatoes, and I eventually moved some of our spices down here too. So that's what we kept in that little drawer. So we have a pop-up camper, and the refrigerator in our pop-up camper is itty bitty. It's probably the smallest little refrigerator known to man. So when I saw this freezer and refrigerator, I was super excited. I thought it was plenty of space for us. So you can see, like here in the freezer, that there is plenty of space for you to be able to store your items in here. In the refrigerator, we had no problem fitting all that we needed into the refrigerator as well. So we had plenty of space, never a problem there. The pictures showing the inside of our refrigerator and freezer are taken a few days into our trip, so we did have it a little bit more full than this, but it gives you an idea of the space. So one of the things that I picked up as we did our walkthrough before we went on vacation is when I came and looked at the coat closet, I opened that up and I just saw a lot of vertical space. I thought this would be a better use of space for a pantry than it would for our clothes. We did bring some coats with us because it was a little cool at the Grand Canyon at night, but we just hung them up in the shower instead of using it this space. What I brought with us was a little organizer for your closet. So we hung this up and made it a pantry, and that was perfect for like our breads. I put some bananas there and chips and those sort of things. So it was a great use of space there. On the bottom, we just had all of our other dried goods. So that worked out really well for this area. All right, so underneath the coat closet, there's 3 drawers. We designated 1 drawer per person. Of course, we are a family of 4. I decided just to keep my things in my backpack and had my husband and my 2 boys have a drawer to themselves. This was really nice because it kept things that just might be placed around and set down. They had a home. There is a 4th drawer here that's really nice and deep, and that's what we put our Enos in and our like extension cord and our extra ropes. And that's what I mentioned we could have probably put underneath that extra chair. So something to think about next time. All right, so in the bathroom area, here at the medicine cabinet, I also was thinking how to maximize this space vertically. You don't want your toothbrush and your toothpaste just sitting down horizontally and taking up a lot of space. So I bought some just plastic cups and just kept them in there. This was a deep enough space that we were able to keep our Nalgene water bottles here too, and it worked as a great place to put them if somebody wasn't actively like drinking out of them while we were driving. So that was a great space for those items. Down below there's 1 shelf. The shelf was deep enough for us to have all 4 of our toiletry bags in there, and we just kept everything in our toiletry bags and tucked them under there. The bottom shelf, there's not much of a shelf here. It's a hard back pretty soon into it. I did place some of our garbage bags and some extra paper towels and that sort of thing in that area. Okay, so in this area, this is also a queen size bed, and we brought another, king size fitted sheet along with our sleeping bags and pillows. Up here in these cabinets, we just kept our clothes. This is where my husband and I kept our clothes, and we just kept them loose. But I did find at Walmart just these little drawer organizers that you can put in there, and I would highly recommend doing that because having them loose, I felt like I was looking through my clothes a lot and just making a mess out of them. So I would recommend buying something that can insert in there. This isn't a very tall area, and so those cube organizers won't fit in this area, but those smaller little organizers will. So here in the bathroom, we had a little shelf hanging up that we put up here just like what we had put in the pantry that we had brought from home. That was a nice place to put our towels. Each person had either a different color or a style of towel, so we knew whose was who. We used the shower as a place that we put our coats. It was a little cool in Grand Canyon some nights, so we had some coats with us. Just make sure you close the lid to the toilet when you're traveling. You don't want one of those coats to get knocked off and land in the toilet. Speaking from experience on that one. All right, so in here, there's some really nice hooks up here at the top. I actually forgot the laundry bag I meant to bring, and so it gave me a little opportunity to do a laundry hack. So we used one of our duffel bags and put it up on one of those hooks and just zipped it about 3/4 of the way up, and put our laundry in there. That way, whenever we were ready to go to the laundromat, it was actually super easy. In the shower itself, we like to recycle, and so I had brought some just recycling bags that we kept in there. Of course, we would take them out when we did this, when we were taking a shower, but it's really easy to recycle at the national parks. There's always a recycling area, so all of those gallon jugs that we had gotten of water from Walmart, we would just save them and recycle. Okay, one of my favorite things I did, it's gonna sound a little crazy, however, it was my favorite thing. I brought a little pop-up laundry basket for our trash can. I brought those extra large trash bags that you use like for your lawn and put it in there. It was fantastic. It worked out really well. It was small enough where it could fit in this little space, so it never knocked over whenever we were traveling, but it was light enough where we could move it around the camper. So we could have it out in the main area when we were parked, and I could put it right beside me whenever we were cooking. So it was really easy to move that trash can around. So that worked out really well. One last spot to show you, and that's the outside of the RV. So they have two panels. This is the smaller panel, and there's a larger panel on the other side. And you can just put it up and push it in, and there's a little holder there to hold this door open while you're getting things in and out of from underneath. This is plenty of space for you. We had 4 suitcases down here, and my husband had brought a large backpacking backpack for like overnight hikes. He was training for another hike he was going to do in Colorado a little bit later in the summer, and so he brought that with us. We had plenty of space under here. We never had an issue with it. We also had our extra water stored under here. So here's one of the doors, and then if you look over there, then there's another. So you can see that there's plenty of space for you in this area. We were all good with our space, and we certainly did not pack lightly, so most likely you will be just fine as well. I hope that this video has been helpful in your planning process. This was our first time renting an RV, but it certainly won't be our last. We had a wonderful time. So have a great time on your vacation. Thanks for watching this video.